Hey, welcome back to another episode of the podcast. I hope you are having a fantastic day. My name is Rob Balasabas. If we haven't met yet, nice to meet you. If we have and you've been here for a little while, good to have you back here. And like I said, I hope you're doing really well. It is Friday, August 23rd. Just about to wrap up my day, my week. It's my first week back. If we are connected on Instagram or Facebook, then you know that we were away for a few weeks. We were back home in the Philippines, me and my family, and we were there for about 3 or almost 4 weeks, and then we were over in Tokyo for another week. It was awesome. If you guys have never been to Tokyo or the Philippines, please add it to your list, add it to your plans in the next year or two. As you're planning your travel and your vacations and stuff. Just some beautiful places in the world over there. And just had a blast, seeing family and exploring new things, seeing things through the eyes of our kids as well, as they are older now. It was their first time in Tokyo, just like me and my wife, but they've been to the Philippines before when they were probably about 4 years ago when we were back there last. And actually, no, closer to maybe 5 years ago. And so, they see things from a different perspective and just a different experience altogether. And so just amazing time. And so here we are, though. We are back. I am back in beautiful Canada. Beautiful Vancouver. And there's a couple things I wanted to share with you guys. One of the things that I think is somewhat overdue is I get a lot of questions about my career and how I end up where I am, working, doing what I do. And I wanted to kind of share a little bit about my career journey with you and maybe even just open up some questions from you about my career journey to date, starting from way back when, many years ago, working at a digital agency and now as head of partnerships and community at uscreen.tv, but also creating content as a content creator and building a creator business as well. Some may call it a side hustle. Some may call it more than that. So, the lines are kind of blurry, and it's been such a fun journey. I've been so blessed with the career and the work that I've been able to be doing to date, and just excited to continue sort of going down this path. I just enjoy what I do every single day. I'm excited to wake up and just get my day started at work, whether it's working here at home or going to an event, a conference, meeting people, hopping on calls, talking to creators, other folks in the industry. And so I want to just kind of touch base on that. I'm actually just going to literally pull up my LinkedIn and kind of just go through the sort of chronologically my journey in my career. And so I wanted to spend a bit of time on that. But before I did, I wanted to share something with you guys. I get a lot of questions, and I want to invite more questions from all of you. I want to invite more questions, all right? So I want to actually share with you. There's going to be a link to this in the show notes down below or on the side or somewhere on this page, wherever you're listening to this. And I'm just trying to find the way to share my screen. I think this is the one here. Boom. Awesome. Okay. So I wanted to share this form with you. It's a very simple Google form. It's linked, like I said, somewhere on this page, but I would love for you to submit any questions you have, okay? Any questions about my work, my career, my creator journey, any strategies on marketing or live streaming or creating content, monetization, memberships, courses, partnerships, affiliates, and I'm just throwing some ideas out here just to get your brain going on any questions that you may have for me. I would love to just answer them. I know there's lots out there just because I've been creating content and sharing content for a lot of years now, and I want to just take everything I have in my head and share it with you guys in future episodes on this podcast. You're even more than welcome to ask me any questions around sort of my family life and dad life and married life and that side of things as well. Work-life balance, all of those things, working remotely. you know, all of those strategies, podcasting, right? And brand partnerships, all sorts of stuff. All right. So ask away, ask your questions. All right. Really simple form. You put in your name, put in your email address. You're welcome to send in your YouTube channel or social channels, Instagram, LinkedIn, your website. That way I can also check it out. I can see a little bit about what you do. But more importantly, I also want to share your pages and your links here in the description of the episode as well. I want to make sure I link back to you and just give you a shout out and credit you in that way. And for taking the time to submit your question, I want to make sure you do that. And then also your question. All right. So questions as well. All right. So you're not limited to a one question here. That's not how it works. I want to hear everything. I want to hear all of your questions and pour into answering as many of your questions as possible. All right. And so if you've been here, submit your questions. If you think of some more tomorrow or later today or next week, come back to this form. I'm going to make sure it's linked into future episodes of the podcast so you can find it easily. And submit your questions. All right. Submit all of your questions. And then at the very bottom here, optionally, if you're comfortable, you can also submit a video of yourself asking the question so that I can include that in the episode itself, right? I can play your question, whether it's a video or audio file. I can play that question and then reply to it. So that would be amazing. I would love for you to show up in future episodes of this podcast as well. And so make sure you do that if you're comfortable. Now, I also have to say that, hey, if you want to stay anonymous, you're more than welcome to do that as well. Just let me know in the questions field right here, your questions. Just say a note like, hey, Rob, I want to stay anonymous, but I do want to know, what your thoughts are about my questions. Okay. So, or question, singular. All right. So just let me know you want to stay anonymous. No questions asked. I will not mention your name or share any of your credentials or social pages or YouTube channel or anything like that. Simply will read your question, leave your name out, leave anything that would identify who you are, and answer your question as best I can. All right. So I'm excited for this. I really hope that you take me up on this invite to ask your questions so that I can answer them in as best as I possibly can. All right. So next thing, really quick, two things actually. One, I'm going to be going to Vid Summit. With Uscreen in a couple of weeks. And so if you are going to be at Vid Summit, please let me know. I would love to see you there. We will have a booth. We're going to have a VIP dinner. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be filming content, giving some stuff away. It's going to be really awesome. I actually just got off a call yesterday with one of our partners. I'm going to let you know because you're part of your family here. We're friends. Shure Microphones actually talked to them and they want to do some things with us at Vid Summit. So we may be giving away some Shure microphones as well over there. So if you're going to be at Vid Summit, reach out to me. Let me know that you're going to be there. Would love to meet you in person. Shake your hand, take a photo, take a selfie, whatever it may be. Sit down, have a coffee perhaps, and just talk shop. All right. Would love to meet you there. Vid Summit is awesome. It's in Dallas, Texas. So even if you are not going to Vid Summit, if you're going to be in Dallas, would love to see you there as well. All right. So one last thing, forgot before we get into the career stuff. Just started a new book. Simon Sinek, Leaders Eat Last. It's my newest book that I've just started reading. I picked it up yesterday. Actually, me and my daughter, we went to go pick this up from the bookstore yesterday after work, and started reading the first couple chapters last night just before bed. And just loving this book. Leaders Eat Last. Why some teams pull together and others don't. So, let me know what you're reading. This is a so far so good book. I'll tell you, more sort of once I finish. But great book, and you kind of think like, okay, this is probably for work. This will apply to my professional, career. But as a dad, I think a lot of this stuff also will apply as being a leader of your family, leader of like any sort of like group or team that you're in, and your family is certainly one of those teams that you are in. So excited to read this book and jump into this book. All right. So, by the way, again, reminder, send in your questions. Find the form and submit your questions through the form there. I would love to answer those for you. All right. So that said, let's go through. I'm actually queuing up my my LinkedIn here. I'm going to queue up my LinkedIn, and I'm going to share my LinkedIn right here. I'm going to go back and forth a little bit, but if we're not connected on LinkedIn, man, what are we doing? We should definitely connect on LinkedIn. All right. So here's my LinkedIn profile. Just look up my name, Rob Balasabas, on LinkedIn. You'll find me. I think there's only one of me over there. And so I'm going to go down to, this is going to be the easiest way to do this. I'm going to go to my experience section here, and let's go to show all 13 experiences. All right, so let's go here. I'm going to go even further back. All right, so actually this doesn't go all the way back, to be honest. So let's start off. Basically, my I guess my career kind of started in a digital agency. And so this is around the 2016, 2015, 2014 time. And I'm just kind of go through here and see actually if it's showing up here. Yeah, okay, we'll start with Thinkific. Will be sort of my first official jump into tech. But my career, I actually went to school right after high school. I went to school, went to college. I went to a technical college, and I did marketing. I did business. I actually started in accounting first year. I wanted to become a suit. I wanted to become a financial sort of stockbroker guy, working downtown in a glass building, and doing deals and stocks. I watched this movie. I'm trying to remember what it was now. Oh, it's escaping me. Boiler Room. I watched Boiler Room. Let me know if you watched it as well when you were in your formative years. And I watched Boiler Room, and I wanted to be one of those guys, doing deals in the bullpen, and a stockbroker, and all that stuff. And so right after high school, I went into finance. I went into finance. It's my first thing in college. I went into finance. I went to finance, and I learned very quickly that finance is not for me. Accounting, all that stuff, not my jam. While I was there in college, first year, I noticed though that all the, there's all sorts of like different business programs, and the marketing kids had the most fun. They were always organizing events and parties and all sorts of really fun things, and they were always hanging out. And they were always in this building called I think it was called I'm trying to think where, I think it was called the Great Room or something like that, the Great Hall or something like that. And that's where they would always hang out. And they would always like be there hanging out, whether they're hanging out with each other and just having blast, or they were promoting something. They had a booth, they had tents. Maybe that's kind of why I'm doing a lot of conferences these days. So you know what? I did okay in my first year. I was in finance, but very, very, very near the end of my first year in business school, I decided to switch from finance into marketing. And so second year of business school, I went into marketing, and that's where I finished. I'm going to cut that story very quickly. I finished officially post-secondary in marketing. And so I finished in marketing right after post-secondary, right after college. I started working in real estate. I actually started working in real estate for a while, doing sales, working for different real estate brokerages in different capacities. And that's really where I picked up a lot of just grit and sales skills, prospecting skills, cold calling skills, all that stuff. And a lot of that just like business experience really came from that. I really credit that to that. I did other jobs. I did odd jobs during college as well. I worked for a telemarketing agency. I worked for an electronics store. I worked all sorts of jobs, and we don't have to get into that before sort of my official professional career. But I did all sorts of jobs. All right, just like anybody else. I didn't just wake up and start working in tech. In my younger years during college, I worked I even worked at the stadium on the weekends. I did some accounting work for the government. I did a lot of different things during college, and I think that's why I do feel I can kind of relate to a lot of people that I meet and just talk about sort of anything. I have this sort of skill to be able to connect pretty quickly, just because I have a wide range of experiences, I suppose, when it comes to work and professional careers and just different viewpoints. I've kind of been in a lot of different seats over my over life during life, I guess. And so if you have any questions about any of my first job, just so that if you're wondering, fun fact, my first job in high school when I was 16, I was grade 10. My first job was actually at McDonald's. First job was cooking fry station at McDonald's, and then I went to the front, as a cashier taking orders. I did drive through. I was cooking in the grill. This is 16, 17-year-old Rob. But that's my first job. I love McDonald's. It was great for my resume, to be honest. No joke. It was such a good thing for my resume. It opened up a lot of doors as I got older. But having that like systematic training system that they had at McDonald's was actually really good. It taught me a lot to be punctual, to be on time, how to track your hours, how payroll works and taxes work, as a 16, 17-year-old kid. It was a great experience for me. So now let's get back into it. So college, got out of college, did real estate for a while. Then I had an opportunity to work with a good friend of mine at a digital marketing agency. And so I did a lot of sales for this digital marketing agency. I was an employee, and I did a bunch of that. And so I did that for quite some time, for about a few years actually. And that's really where I really started to then learn about ClickFunnels, social media marketing, digital marketing strategies, email campaigns, paid ads, paid campaigns. Social like influencer marketing was not quite a thing yet at this time. This is probably bringing us back to 2012, 2013. And so, but we did a lot of sort of that, Google paid ads. I would attend when Google would come in to town. We were Google partners, the agency. And so, because we were running a lot of Google ad campaigns for clients. And so we would be invited to their events. And so we would go and attend these Google sort of like office hour events, sort of things, lunch and learns and stuff in downtown Vancouver. And it was a really, really good time. I mean, I learned so much. It was a very like roller coaster of sort of emotions, running just mentally. Running an agency is not easy. If you're running an agency, you know that, especially sort of as you're growing, there's a lot of, you never know what the day's going to bring, right? One day you're working with maybe a construction company. The next day you're working with a dentist. The next day you're working with, a life coach. And so it's so different. It's so different all the time. And so, but it did teach me to really understand businesses and to look at businesses in a really, strategic way, and really put myself in their shoes, in the business owner's shoes, in the entrepreneur's shoes, the owner's shoes, the manager, whoever was, we were working with, and really what are their goals and how can we help them achieve those goals. And so that was for a long time something that I did. I really learned all of the tools of HubSpot and Salesforce and Hootsuite and all of these strategies, creating systems and creating pitch decks and again, doing presentations, doing recap, monthly, presentations with clients to make sure that they are happy with the results so far and planning for the next month and the next quarter. And so I learned a lot during, again, those years. Now, during that time, near the end of my career in a digital marketing agency, actually, we were working in an office in downtown Vancouver, and a few floors above our office was a company called Lemon Stand. And at the time, they were kind of a startup, and they were, what they did was basically what they basically took on. They were a competitor of Shopify. And you could build an online store, e-commerce store using their platform. And we started becoming buddies with these guys up there at Lemon Stand. And one of the guys there was this guy named Sid Barath. Sid, if you're listening to this, man, big shout out to you, bro. Sid was the marketing guy. I think he was the VP of marketing or the CMO at the time there. And we hit it off. We were just kind of buddies, and we would, trade notes and exchange notes on what was happening with the industry and different things. And so we would grab tacos, Taco Tuesdays, every now and then downstairs at the local taco shop and stuff like that. We'd grab drinks after work sometimes and go for lunch and stuff like that every now and then. Now, one week, all of a sudden, I was like, hey, where the heck is Sid? Like, where's Sid? I haven't seen him in a couple of weeks up there, right? Or downstairs in the lobby or at the taco shop, right? I haven't seen Sid. So I texted him, and he's like, hey, Rob, you know what? I'm not at Lemon Stand anymore. I'm actually at this company called Thinkific. And it's a startup, online courses. And I was like, what the heck is online courses, right? This is like 2015, 2016. And he's like, yeah, people are learning online, man. They're selling courses online. I was like, why? Like, can't they just watch that stuff on YouTube, And so, anyways, long story short, he's like, hey, you should come down. Like, let's have coffee. I'd love to introduce you to the team, see what we're doing out here. And just love to catch up. Lo and behold, I did not know that was a recruiting call. that catch up kind of turned into a recruiting call, because a week later I went, visited Sid. Thinkific had an office in Crosstown. If you know Vancouver, you'll know Crosstown. And sort of the east side, like kind of went right before sort of the border where it's like kind of not so good, and the sketchy part of town to very close to the nice part of town, but they were still on the sketchy part of town kind of side. It's a startup. And so I went and met with the team, met with I believe the COO, Miranda, at the time, and met with Sid, of course, and we talked about what they were doing there and kind of what I was doing, and that basically became an interview. And a week later, 2 weeks later, I was at Thinkific, and this is 2016, and funny enough, I spent so much time in the last, at this point, I was doing digital marketing for a few years. I was kind of like looking for something different. And so I actually took on a role with support. And I was doing support. I was one of 2 or 3 support team members at the time there. And I was answering emails every single day, 8 hours a day, 7 hours a day. And I was probably answering close to 100, 120 emails every single day. I still remember, because there's a guy named Patrick Kelly. Patrick, if you're listening to this, man, I hope you're doing well. Patrick is awesome. He's now running, I believe he's still in Vancouver or Vancouver Island, and he's running some really awesome companies now. He's just a bright guy. At the time, me and him were doing support, and we would have little contests between ourselves on who could do more tickets every single day. And some days we would do 80 tickets each, and that was a slow day. Some days we would do 100, 120 tickets, and that was really fun, to be honest. That was just really fun to understand things from the support side. And then while I was there, of course, you guys know, I'm a marketer at heart, and I've been doing marketing for a number of years at this point. So I'd look around and I'd be like, hey, like what's going on with social media? Hey, if you got, social media, you guys, we don't have a social media manager. That's cool. Hey, you know what? After work, I've got a 1 hour commute back home. Why don't you guys give me the logins for Instagram? I'll post some things every now and then. Just keep things, kind of moving, keep things interesting on our feed. There was no Instagram stories yet at this point, but I would post some things on Instagram, and then eventually after a few months, they'd be like, hey Rob, Instagram's actually starting to pop. Like, do you want to take over our Twitter? Do you want to take over Facebook? And then eventually I went from very quickly, within I think a few months, I went from support into the marketing team. And I became the social media manager there for a while. And then they said, hey, Rob, you're doing social. Why don't you also take over community? We had a Facebook group with, I think 10,000 or so members at the time. Why don't you take over a community as well on Facebook? So I became the social and community manager for quite some time, actually, for a good couple of years, and started to do a lot of partnership things, working with our influencers. I started doing a lot of videos, hopping on live streams, right? And I can talk more about this stuff. But fast forward, I ended up near the end there. I was working with some really awesome people. Shout out to the folks out there I used to work with: Patty McGill, Andrea, Sid, Tyler, Colin. I learned so much from these guys. I was sort of part of the core team that would attend conferences. And that's where I started to meet a lot of the influencers that I work with today, and understanding how conferences and events work, hosting dinners and things like that for partners. Really just like the doors really started to open, and it's just really amazing, to be honest. I mean, going and looking back, it was just an incredible time in my career where some days I would wake up and I'm like, man, I can't believe I'm getting to do this and call it work. It was just so fun, and meeting so many people. The world really just became so big. It just became so and not saying like the world is so big in that like things are so hard to reach, but actually like it was so big because doors would open, and I found myself sitting at tables with people and being in rooms and being in calls and connecting and being able to call people that I would be like, man, I can't believe I'm working with these types of really brilliant, incredible, smart, humble people, not just at the company, but also the partners that we got to work with, the customers, and it was just amazing. And I just really opened my eyes into how big the world can be, and that's really sort of the time and the season where I said, you know what, the world is so big and opportunities are out there. And a good friend of mine, actually, my manager at one point, his name is Mike. He said, hey, Rob, like, you're doing support, but I kind of see like, I kind of like prophesied, I guess, without knowing. Mike is not a religious guy or anything, but he kind of just said, hey, Rob, like, I feel like you're supposed to be doing bigger things, and you're doing support now. And I said, yeah, you know what, Mike, I don't really know what's next for me. I'm in support. This is like sort of the early days. But he said, hey, why don't you go read this book? And it was a book by Jim Collins. And it changed my life. And I can talk more about that some other time. But that book really changed my life into seeing sort of how my viewpoint on work, your career, where you're supposed to go, and things like that. And so, anyways, my time at Thinkific starting to come to an end. I'm going to share my screen here again. This was close to 2020, right? 2020. And I was already at Thinkific for probably close to 4, maybe 5 years. And an opportunity to work at a company called TubeBuddy came up. And so if you're on YouTube, you're familiar with TubeBuddy. TubeBuddy now is at this point was a very lean team. There was about 10 to 12 team members there. I loved what they did. I've been starting to use them I want to actually clarify that I had a YouTube channel before I joined TubeBuddy. Some people thought that I started a YouTube channel because I joined TubeBuddy. I actually started a YouTube channel about 6 months before joining TubeBuddy. I just used TubeBuddy, and we did some things with TubeBuddy, and so we had partnered with them on some collaborations, and so I got to know the team. And so I was presented with an opportunity to work at TubeBuddy, and it took me a long time, to be honest. I am not somebody that moves careers and jobs very quickly. I would love to stay at one company forever and just plant my roots as deep as possible. And so it was a hard decision to make the move, but I was excited because of the team. Because of the leadership, Phil Starkovich, shout out to him if you're listening, Phil, and Andrew Ken, Katie Kiss, just an amazing team that they had over there. And so I was super excited. So I joined TubeBuddy. I was there right before the pandemic, and then pandemic hits, and YouTube just explodes. And so we went from a team of 12 and to a year later being acquired by a company called Branded Entertainment Network. And so Branded Entertainment Network, let's call it Ben for short, that's what it's referred to anyway. Ben acquired TubeBuddy, and now we are part of this massive corporation of like 400 employees. Ben is the primary and I believe single shareholder is Bill Gates. And so, fun fact I always told my kids was like, hey, your dad got to work for Bill Gates at one point in my life, technically. Just had a great time at TubeBuddy. TubeBuddy, I love TubeBuddy, the culture there, the team, the community, the partners. We got to work with, that's when I started working really closely with guys like Nick Nimmin and Daryl Eves, and got to meet a lot of these brilliant creators and entrepreneurs, and got to call them, they became friends. And to this day, I'm going to be seeing Nick. We're going to be having dinner in Dallas because he'll be at Vid Summit as well. And got to make some lifelong friends there. Andrew Can, who you might all know if you followed TubeBuddy, he was there as well, and still messaged Katie the other day, saw a note from Phil the other day, and so just love TubeBuddy and my time there. I grew a lot as a person there, and also in my career, and so got to just again continue along this path of making a ton of connections, connecting people with each other, learning a bunch of things. I was really in the role of partnership manager, and so I was doing a lot of managing the affiliate program at the time, managing a lot of collaborations. I was also creating content for the brand, for TubeBuddy. There was a series called The Creator's Corner that I had launched on TubeBuddy, and where I would interview different folks, and it was just a blast. And so that was around 2020 to 2021. I was there for about 2 years, and then the opportunity with Uscreen has then shown up. All right, so which is where I am now. Became friends with PJ Tai, who's the CEO here at Uscreen, and the opportunity to work with them came up, and at this time, Ben owned TubeBuddy. The acquisition was done. It was already well on its way. The team was growing. It was a great time at TubeBuddy. And again, like I said, very hard to make the move. But, the opportunity with Uscreen presented itself. I just could not say no. And it was just an exciting opportunity to build a partnership program pretty much from the ground up. There was an affiliate program in place, but in terms of sponsorships, collaborations, events, that sort of thing, it was not happening quite yet. And so it's just an exciting opportunity sort of in my career to say, take everything that I know and really pour into it And it didn't hurt that Uscreen was really positioned, bootstrapped company, doing memberships, which I know from my experience, monetization is such a key thing for creators. And so having the opportunity to really sink my teeth and really plant my flag at Uscreen was something that I was super excited about. I prayed about it. Obviously these decisions are not made by myself, but, of course with my wife as well. And we just, said we're all in. And so that was almost 3 years ago now. It'll be 3 years in, I believe, November. November 2021. So yeah, in a couple months, it'll be 3 years. And my role went from head of partnerships to now head of creator partnerships and community. And I'm just loving it. You guys know, I love what I do. I still feel I have to pinch myself sometimes and say, wow, I can't believe that this is what I get to do for work. We have an amazing team and amazing partners, customers. Our mission is very clear, and I just get a ton of support. I feel so empowered to make decisions that I know will drive impact into the company. The whole culture, from the leadership down to me, down to the rest of the team, is fantastic. And, we just have the best partners out here. And so, it's all of the boxes are ticked off for me. I'm just so happy to be doing what I get to do and seeing tangible impact in people's lives, in creators' lives, as we're able to help them. And so that is my career in a very short, we could talk about this for quite some time. But that's been my career, my journey, always looking to learn, always trying to be a learner of as many things as I can, learning from people and getting into rooms with people that are smarter than myself. Get to work with all sorts of different types of personalities, but really understanding that. And along the way, you just have to really look inside and just learn about yourself as well. And, I've always tried to read books and podcasts, but I think foundationally, and I'm not a preacher here, but just foundationally, a lot of biblical things that, in my faith is, it's just helped so much, building community, building partnerships, staying humble, but also being a servant leader is so key. And so, yeah, it's been a blast. It's been such a blessing, and I can't wait to see what the rest of, this journey will look like. But, I wanted to just share that with you guys because it comes up all the time. People kind of wonder, and actually I get people just reaching out saying, hey, Rob, I'm trying to make some decisions on my career, what to do, where to move, whether they are, seasoned in their career. They've been, in the workforce for quite some time, whether some of them are creators, entrepreneurs that are thinking of going back into the workforce as an employee, working for some, a company. Some of them are new. They're just new grads and just trying to figure out, hey, Rob, how'd you maneuver through, some of your decisions as you sort of moved up in your career? And so hopefully this gives you some context. And of course, it's not everything, but if you have any questions, please reach out. Like I said, there is the Google form that you can just fill out. Fill that out. Send me your questions if you'd like to do more of a sort of a one-on-one or anything like that. Just reach out to me as well. I'm happy to do that as well with you. Anything to help you with sort of the things that you're going through in your career and your business, whether it's your in-house or a entrepreneur creator. Would love to serve you in any way that I can. So thanks for hanging out with me on this podcast episode. Again, this is Rob Balasabas. Really glad to have you here. If you have any questions, please send them my way. Would love to continue the conversation. All right. God bless you guys. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.